So Sarah and I met actually in a ski resort in Colorado in Crested Butte, and we're living a really active, incredible, loving, very happy life. I was working as a ski patroller and as an EMT on dirt bikes and bicycles, and started kind of seeing my first big traumatic events, and it started to change who I was as a person, and we really didn't know what that was. Inevitably, we had our first son, which changed the dynamic of the world we were living in on the ski resort, ski bum lifestyle, if you will. And then when we were pregnant with our second child, we decided to make the move closer to Sarah's family in Maryland to raise our children with family around, which was really important to us. Getting on here in Frederick County, Maryland is a really busy fire department, and really endured a lot, if you will, after leaving kind of my dream world, if you will, living on a ski resort and then coming into like the city life and seeing a lot of trauma. I was involved in a line of duty death where I actually pulled my captain out of a basement fire, and just a lot of different calls that really stuck to me that I didn't know were sticking to me at the time. I just realized and knew that I was very unhappy, even though I had my dream job and my beautiful wife, my beautiful kids, my amazing home. I was miserable. So it wasn't until I had just a big breakdown and kind of a spiritual awakening, if you will, to where I realized that there was so much more to life than the chaos that I was living in, and I wasn't satisfied in anything that I was doing, and that was when the shift started to happen. And that's when we got into a lot of mindfulness and a lot of yoga and meditation, and just a lot of like planning of our lives and daily structures and communication between each other of what we wanted and how we can gain all of those things, because the schedule that we work is conducive to live a really beautiful life if you can switch hats in a way that's actually meaningful and give yourself the rest that you need, but also using some of those terrible calls that we see as a driving force for that post-traumatic growth, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love how you reframed it that way of post-traumatic growth, because that's one of the things that kind of honestly bothers me sometimes is the diagnosis of PTSD, and it just, like, I don't know, I understand the time and the place for diagnosis and when that, is necessary, but it's almost like the label of a disorder, like that, getting labeled with that feels so heavy, and it feels so like this constant mentality that something's wrong with me or something's broken.
Yeah, it feels like forever.
Exactly. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so I like your take on it, and I've heard it that way before too, and also post-traumatic injury, which is like, okay, that like this isn't forever, this isn't just how things are going to be, but it's just a growing point and an opportunity to heal. So I really love your reframe on that. It's really important.
Yeah, and I think nothing is forever, right? We live in a universe of change, and that's the only thing that's constant. So it's important to understand that unless you're present and living presently, you're not going to enjoy the life that you're living. And most times you're living the life that you dreamed of 5 years ago, but we're not aware enough to consciously actually see that at all, because we're stuck in fight or flight, or we're freezing and we're hiding and disconnected from life in itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.